And what that is in regards to this entire Chicago Bulls situation going on right now. The truth is, I'm somebody that does not like to speak on things until there's enough facts present. I don't like opinions. I don't like sharing them for the most part. I like to give facts of what things are. And in this situation, I can't really give a lot of facts, and that's the problem with this whole situation. We have zero clarity. I don't know if anybody knows what's going on with the Chicago Bulls right now because they made a move early, and we knew it was time, right? We knew that we missed the opportunity to see what a potential Lonzo Ball, Zach Lavine, Vucevic, Patrick Williams, DeMar DeRozan, that whole core group that we saw that was playing at a high level for a long time there until Lonzo got hurt. We knew that era was coming to conclusion. Maybe Lonzo's back, maybe not. We don't know, but it's been multiple years since he's played. And so it's time to blow it up. And so I love the move they made it to begin with. The Josh Giddey addition, loved it. I think that was great. They need to start finding ways to get young talent assembled to build for the future. And so that was a great start to the offseason. And now we get to this point, and it's like, okay, well, all right, Caruso's gone, it's a good player, but, makes sense. DeMar's gone. Great. So we're rebuilding. And then you look at the roster, and, well, Zach Lavine, he's still there. Vucevic, he's also still on that roster. What is going on here? And that's the problem here. And we hear rumors and reports that they're still attempting to trade them. And I asked, well, Zach Lavine is an all-star player. How is this so difficult to trade him? And that's where the clarity is not certain here. We don't know what is all going on. We've heard leaked rumors. We've heard things on both parties coming out. We've heard thoughts and reasons for everything going on. But quite frankly, we don't know the truth. I don't know if it's the Bulls are setting such a high level of a package that's necessary for Zach Lavine that pretty much every team's saying, I don't want this. But if that's the case, if you're the Chicago Bulls, you're going to run this team out there, and what are you going to do? 10th seed maybe? I don't know. Like, this is not a team that we really want to watch unless Lonzo's back to better than he was beforehand, which I hope happens. But just keeping it reality-wise, he's been out for multiple years. It's going to be very, very tough, and it probably will take at least a year to get himself back fully. So I don't even know what it's going to look like. So the Chicago Bulls team, it's one of the most confusing rosters to look at top to bottom because they have young guys. I would love to see them get more experience. I just talked about Josh Giddey. I would love to see what he's got. We had a massive breakout season with Kobe White. Keeping him definitely. I'm not saying do not trade him. I like to see what Julian Phillips can do. Dalen Terry, we saw him grow a little bit last season. What is he capable of doing with a larger role? There's a lot of these young guys that are just not able to grow and develop because you have guys that are established veterans on the team. And these established veterans, while they are good players, they're not built to contend to any extent. And so what I look at with this team is, well, what moves can we possibly see the Chicago Bulls make? And I don't even know if the package will be that large. It appears to me that they're not going to, because if there was a large package, I think Vucevic and Lavine would both be gone, long gone, in fact, from the Chicago Bulls. So I'm not sure what they're going to get, and that's where it gets complex and confusing, because when a lot of these teams tear down these, competitive playoff, you want to call them contender teams, is that they're smart and they ship out the guys in the last couple of years of the deal. They get draft picks, they get assets to get young guys back. What they really did with Josh Giddey for Caruso was a perfect move, exactly what I'm talking about here. And that's why I'm confused why I can't get something similar for Lavine and Vucevic. But we saw that with, we're not going to list the name, but Brooklyn Nets recently. We saw that with Thunder. We saw that with the Houston Rockets. The Boston Celtics, however many years ago. It's a continuous thing. You've got to get assets back. And that's where I see this rebuild gets a little bit confusing and complex here, which almost makes me think, is this why the Bulls are so high on getting stuff back for Lavine and Vucevic? Because if they don't get a lot back, they could be really in the bottom feeders of the NBA for quite a while. Because just getting, one hit, and if that pans out, great. If not, then you got to wait a whole other year to get another guy, and only having one draft pick is going to be tough. Matas is also the young guy. I forgot to mention him with the young court earlier. He's a guy I like to see. Patrick Williams is fine keeping there as well. But if you're just going to have this veteran type roster formation here, I don't like what the Chicago Bulls have set for the season. Like I said, can they maybe get into the playing game? Maybe. But that makes no sense. It's time to move on from Zach Lavine. It's time to move on from Nikola Vucevic and find another package deal where you can get them gone. And preferably you get draft picks, you get young assets, you get something. But at the very bare minimum, you got to make sure this team is not going to be just a 10 seed. This is a very loaded upcoming draft. It is far better than what we just had this past year's draft. You've got a generational considerably talent in Cooper Flagg, as well as a lot of guys that are also going to be vying for that top couple picks in the draft as well. This is the draft that you could land a franchise cornerstone piece. And if you're the Chicago Bulls, you're looking at that and you say, you know what? We have to make sure that we get ourselves in the best position to draft one of those guys, because this is not a team that's going to go anywhere else. We see what they're capable of. Bearing a massive breakout season from somebody else and everybody being healthy, this team is not going to contend or compete at all this year. It's time to break this team up, and it's time to get the moves over with so you can really start saying, hey, young guys, here's the team. What do you guys got? Who can we start building around? Who are some cornerstone pieces? Who are the guys that we're really going to consider franchise cornerstones? You could hypothetically say right now Kobe White, right? You could say maybe Josh Giddey has a chance to get to that point. But at the same time, they're hindered from that positioning and the opportunity because of the fact that you have guys in place right now in Zach Lavine and Vucevic, who obviously will, if they're there, they're the veterans, they're established, they've both been all-stars in their careers. They automatically will have the spotlight on them. They're automatically the top two guys there, and it holds back these young guys. So it is time to move on with the Chicago Bulls. They've got to figure out a package deal to get these guys uprooted up on out of this team. Hopefully get some kind of assets, but regardless of what happens, they got to get these two guys traded before training camp happens so that they can move forward with this roster now, where you will have a young Chicago Bulls roster throughout this next season where we're evaluating who are our core pieces, who are the guys that we're going to build around, and who are guys that we can really just add on to this team and prepare to potentially land that cornerstone piece in the 2025 NBA draft. So that's what the Chicago Bulls have to do. Will they do it? I honestly have no idea, because like I said, this is a situation that has pretty much zero clarity. I have no idea. Nobody knows exactly the details going on behind the scenes right now, but moves must be made in Chicago. This is not a team that's going to compete. It's a very weird built team. I think it's the weirdest built team in the NBA at this moment, and we got to see those two guys dealt before the offseason, before the training camp starts. So